Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The OYO school kidnappings, abductions, and the 1,000 forest guards mandate. Yeah, it's a lot going on in Nigeria, obviously. We missed you last week, but we're back. So, a math teacher beheaded, underage children stolen, and an indefinite strike that has completely shut down Oyo State today. And we opened with this high intense developing crisis in the southwest. Today, Monday, June 1st, public primary and secondary school teachers across Oyo State officially began an indefinite strike, withdrawing their services completely. This industrial action is a direct protest against the horrifying May 15th mass abductions in Oryire local government area, where bandits where bandits struck three schools, kidnapped dozens of pupils and teachers, and brutally beheaded a mathematics teacher. In a desperate move to show presidential capacity, President TINUBU yesterday dispatched a high-powered federal delegation including NSA Nuhu Ribadu, Chief of Staff Bajabia Mila, and IGP Tunji Disu to Ogbomosho while approving the emergency recruitment of 1,000 forest guards to comb the deep forested belts. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're starting with today. Hold tight. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today, and we'll be right back. Good to see you, sir. Welcome back, sir. So I have a question for you, sir.
Mm.
All right. So the Nigerian Union of Teachers is calling it a nightmare, and parents are terrified. Is Tinubu's deployment of forest guards a swift showcase of federal capacity, or has the security architecture failed so deeply that the Southwest is now a playground for bandits? We can't wait for your analysis on this case because we missed last week, and it's been a lot that's happened in the last 2 weeks.
Uh, Thank you very much. Permit me to, by way of initial remarks, describe what is happening all over Nigeria as tragic, something sad. It's taken by the second a macabre dimension, and only God knows what can put an end to this situation that we have thrown ourselves into. Now, looking beyond the recent kidnap of school children, teachers, and even some individuals that were so unfortunate to have worked themselves into that quagmire while the events were unfolding. Because people love to, they love to underplay the dimensions and the proportions of what we are dealing with, because I have had some sentiments from people saying, oh, Amatekun that was introduced in Ondo State by the late Governor Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu did wonders in stopping stuff happening in Ondo State. That is a lie that deserves to be pushed back. Yes, the political gesture was there. The effort was visible. It was something anybody could feel, but it did not also stop these evil terrorists, kidnappers, and bandits from unleashing terror. And they have not even stopped disturbing Ondo State. So to sit in some editorial suit in Lagos and make it look like, oh, it's hallelujah in the great by and by for Ondo State people, and that Oyo State is the focus of. That is really unfortunate. On the other hand, what we have here now is the sad reality that this is something that has enveloped, that has descended upon Nigeria like anybody wouldn't have, I mean, could have imagined in times past. That said, we're talking of issues of national implications and the security architecture that should accompany that. Now, I would be mindful of what I say concerning this topic, Ola, so that we don't give too much to these evil minds. I mean, we think for them. I do not even understand why the Chief of Staff to Mr. President with the high representation that you are describing, I mean, which included the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, etc., etc. I would not even know why he had to disclose that they were going to recruit 1,000 forest guards. Because I'm also aware that one of our sources that told us, somebody who trained in Belarus and somewhere else, I mean, I think Ukraine, before they started this war, as a Nigerian special force, had described some measures being taken by the administration to us years back. And this individual was one of those who acted as a trainer for the would-be or prospective forest guards then. So I'm surprised that they are talking of recruiting 1,000 forest guards now. I thought those people were trained somewhere in Kwara and had been, I mean, some of them were given this excellent graduation ceremony, let me put it that way, and were deployed at some point to begin to take action. But from the blowback that we had, it looked like some of these bandits, these terrorists, actually penetrated the recruitment exercise for the forest guard, and many of them had been fingered in the unfortunate attacks on some towns and villages in Kwara State. We can fact check some of these things as events unfold. So whatever the government is doing to mitigate this situation should not even be on the pages of newspapers. So that disclosure in itself, to me, I would view as a tactical blunder on the part of the government. Whatever you're doing, and there are 1,001 ways of bringing down these ragtag people that are pretending to be anything just because they have AK-47 as their preferred assault weapon. And that's why I said I would proceed with caution discussing this topic. However, let me say that seeing the video of the husband of the kidnapped school principal that is now being used as a bait on everything that the terrorists want is something that wrenches the heart. It's something that disturbs the mind. And whether we live in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, this is one short of doors to keep us all awake. Not just the government in Nigeria, but leaders who should be concerned all over the world. And if people have been talking of more than 20 million out of school children in Nigeria, this is certainly going to lead to a spike in the number of children that would not be going to school anymore. And Ola, let me tell you, this is not a new phenomenon. When I was growing up, uh, way back around 1974, 75, as a prospective elementary school pupil, this rumor of what they now call kidnappers being Gbomo Gbomo were known as Beni Beni. I mean, people kidnap persons in those days around Akure, all the way to Owaye, everywhere in Ondo State. And I was enrolled maybe at age 4 at LA Primary School in the days of the famous headmaster known as Leke in Akure there, LA 1, around Stadium in Akure. And all of a sudden, there was this rumor that children had been kidnapped and what have you. And that day, school was declared to be over. And that was how eventually I ended up not going to that school and had to be taken back to where my dad and my mom were in Ayede and had to be enrolled at St. Andrews Primary School. And rumor of such kidnappings of children never stopped. I can give you instances. At least I remember that my elder sister and Tebu had to change schools severally because of incidents of Beni Beni, that is this kidnapping incident. So it is something that has always been there with us, people of African descent. Because of all these kidnappings, you know how many of our folks were plugged and sold into slavery several places. It is the descendants of those who have been doing this over the centuries that are still perpetrating this. And like I said, there will be caution on what we say, how we pursue this topic, so that we don't give out too much to the enemies out there. You know, I've had some evil, if not satanic sentiments from some of the people who have become self-appointed spokespersons for the government in Nigeria. One folk came on the television last week and was describing this joyous mood, celebration mood, so to say, within the media when kidnappings happen in Nigeria. You know, such a twisted, if not lunatic thinking on the part of some people in the government of Nigeria that journalists celebrate. Who told them journalists are celebrating? This is a moment for everybody to be sober, to be, sad, to be penitent about what we have done to get us to where we are now as a country in Nigeria. But talking from the diaspora, honestly, Nigeria needs help. And Nigeria should be humble on how it seeks the support and collaboration and cooperation of the international community, various countries, special forces in getting this done. This can be done, and I know one or two things that can be done, but I cannot say that openly because you do not equip your enemies thinking, or state enemies thinking, you know how to talk. I've seen very loquacious and talkative persons within the administration who, instead of looking for practical solutions to this, have been saying stuff. So the indefinite strike on the part of teachers in Oyo State, and maybe in solidarity, if it can extend to teachers all over Nigeria, will be a welcome development. But that strike in itself is long overdue, because you look at the crisis of education in Nigeria, public education, the finance and all that. It is long overdue. But now the fierce urgency of that situation is driven home further by the fact that these children, some of them as young as 4 years old, are in the bush. They've been there for more than 2 weeks. And from what we are hearing, it's like these people are doing point to kill, you know, which is really sad. This can only come from a twisted mind. So going forward, both the government and the civil society, that is every citizen should have this concerted effort to make sure that the kidnapped victims are freed and that such a thing does not happen anymore. Too much Owambe party for people in the Southwest. While they do their Owambe, the place has come under heavy siege. Going forward, our people must be proactive. This thing on permission or what grade of weapon citizens can carry in Nigeria should be revisited. When the enemy, the attacker, knows that you are strongly fortified, they will have a rethink before they can just treat you like a conquered people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I mean, we can only hope that these people know how to balance, I guess, the need to reassure the citizens and not giving away their intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We do have some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. The Goodluck Jonathan 2027 bombshell. Wow. So he's back. A fraction of the PDP just ratified Goodluck Jonathan as their sole 2027 candidate, and it has thrown Peter Obi's NDC plans into absolute chaos. That's what they're claiming. The political calculations for 2027 were entirely rewritten over the weekend. In a special national convention held in Abuja on Saturday, a powerful faction of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, led by Kabiru Turaki, officially ratified former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan as their sole presidential flag bearer for the 2027 election. This move is an absolute political earthquake. It instantly threatens the momentum of the newly formed Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, where Peter Obi, Rabiu Kwankwaso, and recent high-profile defectors like Ovie Omoagege are trying to build a third force, while constitutional lawyers are already screaming about term limits under Section 137. The streets are asking if the Amechi and legacy PDP factor will unite behind GEJ. So here's the question that I have for you on this one, sir. Jonathan hasn't even publicly accepted the ticket yet. By the way, Jonathan is our former president of Nigeria. But they're saying Abuja is already vibrating. So is Goodluck Jonathan comeback a genuine master stroke to challenge TINUBU? Or is the PDP just setting a legal trap that will fracture the opposition permanently? The sharp edge is yours.
Thank you very much. This excitement that everybody is talking about concerning the proxy affirmation of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan is something that really also, that is giving me some tickles there as well. However, I would be tickled more by the possible strong showing of individuals like Omoyele Sowore and the other underdogs, like the only woman presidential hopeful that had been adopted by one political party there now. Such things should create some level of buzz within the system instead of just applauding Peter Obi, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. These are known individuals, rehabilitated, recycled, and would want to continue to hold the system by the jugular, like recurrent decimals. So, would will this really be some set piece? A trap for the electoral system because of the uh, refusal of PDP big shots to reconcile between themselves and within the political party, I do not think this is. I don't know if PDP should be seen as should be dismissed with a mere wave of the end as a party that is not capable of redeeming itself. I do not think we should give up on the possibility, on the hope of resurrection for such a political party. However, Mr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan himself has not even spoken on whether he is going to be in the race, on whether he has accepted, excuse me, on whether he has accepted to run or not. So this permutation that, this could whittle down the hopes of individuals like Mr. Peter Obi, the hope of getting something done by Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, and possibly the prospect for any other person on the ticket. Yes. What I'm able to postulate from this is the fact that more than ever before, it looks like the chance of Mr. Atiku Abubakar is becoming brighter. And it looks like if the government of the day is not going to bank on an easy ride through the power of incumbency, the fact that they are the ones running the show now, if that is not what they are banking on, they should now begin to look at it that, okay, the President TINUBU, Bola Ahmed TINUBU, the sitting president, may not have that, what you would call command lead with the votes coming from the southern part of Nigeria. So the battleground, as things were, will be the north. And yes, Rabiu Kwankwaso, having taken charge in Kano State, and that in itself is contestable. You have the sitting governor who was his protege. You have other individuals that used to be with him who are no longer with him. And you have his anointed and preferred choice for the governorship of the state. But one man does not make, or let me say, a tree does not make a forest. And Rabiu Kwankwaso alone cannot say, where he goes would, is where the entire people of Kano State will go. And elsewhere, we cannot also say that, with the influence of the vice president in a state like Borno, the Atiku would be able to have some grip, some firm grip of the political destiny of the Northeast. So this can be anybody's game, but I am focused more on what people like Omoyele Sowore will be able to do, what the only female presidential candidate there will be able to do. But you know the way it goes in Nigeria. In the days of Dr. Sarah Jibril, whether in SDP, later in a PDP, the apathy towards women presidential candidates, hopefuls, is always appalling, if not dismal, in Nigeria. So if any female presidential candidate makes a strong showing, like the candidate of the Nigeria Rescue Party, that would really be a miracle. But to focus on what the big shots like Jonathan Ebele, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the former president, would do, because he has not told anybody, he has not come out openly to say, I accept this proclamation. And so it is anybody's game now. But I expect a strong contestation not just between Atiku Abubakar and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I also hope that the skeptics will be put to shame this time around that Peter Obi is not just a small fry when it comes to the. He has proven himself severally, whether as a governorship candidate that was robbed, who later got his mandate back, and then when nobody expected him to make any serious showing in 2023, you saw him making well over 6 million votes. So it is anybody's game at this point, Ola. And let us hope that people who could not even guarantee successful internal party democracy would be able to give Nigeria something to hope for. But before we
are you saying that we have good options and we have no more excuses? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, certainly. But I would focus on more. My focus would be more on individuals like the underdogs, like Omoyele Sowore, the candidate, the woman candidate for Nigerian Rescue Party, and all of them there.
But Chief, if we can't even remember their name, there's no chance. They have no chance.
This is not about me.
Okay.
Although I have the Nigeria's voters card, but I may not be in Nigeria at that time. As a Nigerian American.
Sorry, sir. But it's a testament. The fact that you couldn't remember her name is a testament to what an average Nigerian.
No, this is not about me. Trust the average Nigerian political junkie. They would know her name. What I'm saying here is that my attention will be more on such underdogs, how they will perform and how entrenched the system that we think has been jaded so far, how we think that system can be redeemed. That will be what I'll be watching out for. As a journalist, I watch out for the unusual. What could change the flow of the news for any given day? That is what I will be more focused on, Ola, not those that we already know. And at their best, we have seen each of them on what they can do. But like I said, whether it's Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, or Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the game is getting more interesting.
So by any chance, are you talking about Anita? Is that the name of the person? Anita Zugwai Chukwu with YPP?
No, I'm talking of the candidate of the Nigerian Rescue Party.
Nigerian Rescue Party. Because I'm looking at another person on NDP. There's a few of them already. There's another one, NRM presidential candidate. Okay. It's a few of them out there.
There is another one, Akin Ayeju, that dropped the 12 million naira to pick a lady, and there was robbed of the opportunity by the grab it all men who called, the chairman of one party like that, and then they skinned her out and made the road so rough for her. Having to shuttle between master's program at Cambridge or whatever, and that race in Nigeria. You know what it means to come up with 12 million as against 20 million dropped by this so-called party chairman, and the party chairman skinned her out and was even reeling out some disciplinary measures. Who does that? As if you have been invited to the principal's office in a political party.
Well,
is either political parties stand out as purveyors of liberty, or they just want to continue to project this thing as instrument of subjugation? I think Nigerians need a better mentality on how to manage these things, so that we can be seen as people that are serious about democracy.
Okay. Well, the person you're speaking of, I think, is actress Esther Okereke.
Yes, that is the candidate, Esther Okereke. That is the candidate. Yes, because I saw them developing a program around the vision of Esther and how she can be the hope for Nigeria, just as a Jewish lady. Esther also was an instrument of redemption for the Jewish people in the diaspora. Well, good luck to any of them without Jonathan in it. But it will be interesting if Jonathan comes into the fray. But I will caution him that some people they're trying to rubbish him. You know, the crowd is mad. It's mad already. If he can be far from that, it will be something interesting to know. But my take is not the same as that of Yeson Wike, the Bragadacio, who still being who he is, was talking as if he knows it all today.
Speaking of Yeson Wike, we're about to get into some Yeson Wike, sir.
Thank you very much.
Let's hold your thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Marriott. Marriott, I see you in the chat. I see Lydia, Bruce in the chat. All right, so let's move on. We have some other trendy stories around the block. We'll be right back. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So the INEC private portal scandal and the Wike and Lere, I think his name is Lere, I forgot. Anyway, I'll come up with the name in a second. With Emeka Ike, they are in some kind of brouhaha back and forth. So it's a secret server that apparently houses a bunch of documents that they were not supposed to have access to, but anyway, now there's an actor in the middle and a brutal media war. Why is the FCT minister being linked to a shadow INEC portal? Yeah, we conclude with the raw digital. Okay, so there's this thing going on, right? There's this news going on right now. Emeka Ike, I saw Emeka Ike in the news over the past few days. I didn't even know he was running for an office, but he was up and down. And but apparently there's now it's become a cyber war. In a short video clip that's going viral online right now, you can hear Emeka Ike saying, "I am not a social media something activist," something like that. But anyway, this whole thing has exploded between our FCT minister and Yeson Wike's machinery and vocal opposition media strategist Lere Olayinka. The trigger? Well, shocking allegations circulating online claiming that high-level actors, some even mentioning veteran actor Emeka Ike's name in loose alignment with high-profile digital campaigns, are exposing or interacting with a supposedly private INEC back-end portal designed to manipulate upcoming election logistics. But actually, it's more so of the actor being on the receiving end of it. Okay, so now INEC is vehemently denied the whole thing, and as usual, they deny everything. They probably blame it on a snake, but your guess is as good as mine. So, but what they're saying, this old news is around the access, the level of access that certain political officials, political appointees would, in a place like Nigeria, have access to certain portals that only INEC high officials should have access to, and there should be oversight and scrutiny and proper protocol around having access to. So now what happened is that they leaked a document that has some very high sensitive information of the actor turned politician, looks like Emeka Ike now, and the whole internet has been debating about this. But my own question to you, sir, is that where is the surprise here? I mean, it's kind of sad.
Okay, the surprise is this. The context to this is this. Emeka Ike is in the race. So to say, he expressed the desire to run for House of Representatives. Okay. And he was registered in one of the southeastern states as a prospect, as an aspirant. And
right. Imo State, right?
Yes. So he now moved his what's it called?
Candidacy.
From that state to the Federal Capital Territory.
Right.
Supposedly. And so all of a sudden, the details of his profile, his political profile, the details that is supposed to have been softwared by the Independent National Electoral Commission in Nigeria by way of confidence or confidentiality. That of each Nigerian citizen, each Nigerian voter is supposed to have been given the utmost protection. And this is not just a question for INEC. This is something that would also involve the Nigerian Data Protection Agency. I know one of us on this team knows so much about that, and you may also know so much about that. So the breach in all this, while the details pertaining to Emeka Ike had to be
personal identifiable information, we call them here.
Yes, had to be put out there like that by the minister's media assistant, Mr. Lere. Yes, and you would see the struggle of the minister today to pass this on in the chat he had, that when he was asked about not getting CTC, certified true copy of rulings on some of the matters involving him and the Nigerian political stuff, he did the unthinkable by saying, journalists should go to any length, whether there is FOI, Freedom of Information Act, and all that. They can even pay to get information. Yes, that not necessarily so. It is
when you're done, sir, I will add some context to that. Continue, sir.
Yes. Yeah. He should mind his business as a lawyer that has never made a successful outing in any law court in Nigeria. He should face his business as a political jobber. That is the FCT minister. Instead of trying to teach what he knows nothing about on how journalists can access or go for information and make it look as if it is so cheap to practice journalism. That is the tragedy. So in trying to use the issue of a certified true copy of court rulings in Nigeria, which of course is also a ludicrous position to maintain. So Wike and his team can get certified true copies, journalists cannot get, and to him that is normal, that people can go to any length. So he was using that as a soft landing on this question that is being asked: how did you get access to the back end of the INEC, protected data at INEC? So what this calls for is some vigilance on the part of Nigerians and everybody to upend the game, bring it all down, bring down the roof, and then let us rebuild all over. Because when trust in the system is not there, you will find the proliferation of banditry, you find proliferation of terrorism, you will find proliferation of kidnappings, just because the system, they're testing the water on how far they can go. And when you have state officials behaving like brigands, like just any common criminal out there, without honor, without integrity, and then they want to rationalize it on the fact that anything could go. No, the system should develop a way of letting them know that there are things you don't get away with. Now, when Wike made his appearance today, I still saw the way some journalists were setting him up like a high priest and not behaving like journalists. I mean, really, they were just, some of our colleagues there were just there like public relations consultants. But I need to single out one person for commendation. That is an editor that came from the Sun Group, the Sun Newspapers Group, Adetutu Folake. She was behaving on that show, on that press conference, like a true journalist, not genuflecting, not this repeat line of Your Excellency, and then who told them that journalists should go to assignments in order to be commending public officials is that part of the training that cheapens the entire, the entire practice. So kudos to Ms. Folashade Adetutu Koyi for really standing out as a thoroughbred professional there today with a Yes Wike. Now to the other question that we're asking here. INEC has a way of coming out with all kinds of explanation, and in government parlance and even in intelligence, you always talk of plausible denial. But the plausible deniability of what INEC knows about how Emeka Ike's profile got out would have to go beyond what we have always been said, because in the past, when the antecedents of Mr. Amupiton, professor of law, by the way, and chairman of INEC, when that became a subject of a controversy the other day on how he had been suspected of being a partisan member of the ruling party, that's why they got a forensic auditor that did a job and they absolved him of any complicity or involvement, or that he never even had that. The report, this so-called report, which was given to Nigeria in filters, was served on the letterhead of INEC. One would think that should have come from the independent forensic auditors who did the job, directly talking to Nigerians. So what I'm saying is that whether we are scrutinizing this access to the back end of the data cloud at INEC, or in the past scrutinies being demanded of Professor Amupiton, Nigerians may never know the truth. And it subjects Nigerians to the same situation, same awkward predicament that Nigerians face when it comes to banditry, terrorism, and kidnappings, and all kinds of petty crimes. Mental health issue. To simply come out clean and let Nigerians have the truth about anything should not be too difficult for any government to want to be involved in. But of course, you're talking of Nigeria. They spend so much money. Living in truth does not cost much, but having to defend lies and deception and prebendalism and mendacity costs a lot. It costs a lot. So, yes, Wike, Mr. Alere Olayinka, who, by the way, is a good personal friend. This is nothing personal, but they should come out clean. And if things like this have happened, it must stop going forward. This is all about nation building. Nobody should look at issues like this as a personal animosity, so much so that the foundation to the edifice called Nigeria is being broken, is being cracked, and may be ruined. We need to act better. This is the point to be made, Ola.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. You see, the INEC portal story, right? It's a fascinating one for me. And if you notice myself, I said, "Where's the surprise?" But I'm glad you gave me that analysis. The reality is that Nigerians, like you said, they need to do better. You were speaking about there's a balance here that needs to be stricken between freedom of press, I guess, and politicking, right? And we'll say Your Excellency, and I can't help but to wonder, as I'm not a professional journalist, I'm not a professional politician, I can't help but to wonder how realistic it is for an average journalist in Nigeria to not kiss up to a Wike. I can't help but to just wonder that in that environment.
This is the advantage that we have living in a global village today. Don't they see how our colleagues in other jurisdictions all over the world, how they act? Because when you begin to kiss up to officials that should be scrutinized in the first place, you are beginning to really throw the spanner in the integrity of your practice as a journalist. How many people refer to President Donald Trump as Your Excellency before asking him the questions he should answer ordinarily? It's a constitutionally protected place. I mean, for journalists to operate from. So to go before anybody and begin to kiss up to the what's it called, to ministerial imperial ring is something that really gives me some jitters. And not just that, hardly would you see them addressing these individuals as if the buffoonery displayed by late Idi Amin Dada of Uganda is something that must be emulated by everybody. You will hear them, Alhaji Chief Doctor. What is that? What is that? You know, the craze about titles, and then hardly would anybody say anything. Even the tradition that was imbibed by Nigeria, this what's it called? This state honor of the member order of Niger or Grand Commander Federal Republic. The British people that started it, since, how many times have you ever heard them say, "Oh, King Charles, KBE, MNN, MO, and
MON,
nonsense." Nonsense. You know, inanities and vanities that pop people up for nothing.
Well, to be fair, and I want to move on to our special, right? To be fair, you know, it's part of our culture, you know, the edification by way of title.
What culture? Culture of psychophancy?
A titled red cap, you know, you have to pronounce it fully out. You know,
well, if anybody should talk of our culture and tradition, I should be eminently qualified to do that as a traditional chief.
You are.
Do you know that?
No, before you continue, because we run out of time, we'll pick it up right from that. Let me just put a demarcation here. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. And now we move into our special of the week. We've had the hard news. Now let's get a sharper edge on the conversations. Joining us for our dialogue is the man himself, our publisher, editor-in-chief, and High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. We're supposed to be joined by some other folks, but I don't know if they're having a difficulty, but we're going to carry on the conversation nonetheless. Today, over the weekend, sir, we've had some trendy stuff, like for example the Ojude Oba. A lot of people are criticizing that festival in the face of all the crisis, the security crisis that Nigeria is going through. There's also the back and forth between the presidency and the very dark man himself. And also Aisha Yusufu was caught crying. I don't know what happened to her in the caucus of all the politicking in Nigeria. She tried to do it. She would ask her to come to that side, but you know, AAC, she didn't want to be a part of AAC. She's following Peter Obi around. These are the things I'm seeing in the news, sir. And then Sheyi Makinde is claiming that he doesn't have control of his own state. Something to that effect. Maybe you can bring us all. Maybe you can bring it all together.
Thank you very much. Number one, let me say that we were talking about culture and tradition, and if anybody is going to talk about
Yes.
that, as a real traditional chief, not honorary or what have you,
True.
not a minor, as a kingmaker and a serious chief for that matter. What is this tradition people talking of? When, in the true sense of it, if you want to be an authentic leader in any African palace, this thing that they set up, which is not the truth of the way palaces operate, not there. The palace is the easiest and the first point of contact between common folks and the system anywhere in Nigeria. You can be seated on the throne as a king, and a common folk is coming to rain all kinds of invectives at you, and you are never going to be negative in your reaction. What you are going to demonstrate at such moments will be grace, candor, and real warmth. So to now expect that everybody will come to you and then begin to give you high praises to high heavens, as you often find in Nollywood drama, it's not it's not a reflection of the truth of the way things operate in several traditional societies. That point must be made. Now, as to Governor Seyi Makinde, who's been saying that it's not in control of his state, but the man has just said there's nothing new about that. He has just said the truth. Because do not forget that, excuse me, in the true sense of it, we don't have federating units in Nigeria. Most states that are now being described as a sub-national or local government being seen as sub-national, an aberration in itself, they did not sign up as independent units that willingly or willfully decided to be part of the Nigerian Federation. They were creations of decrees signed by successive military administrations in the past. And who knows, we pray that no military coup will succeed in Nigeria anymore. But the point to be made is that since Aguiyi Ironsi, JTU, Ironsi came to power January 15, 1966 in Nigeria and decided to introduce a unitary system on Nigerians after he had suspended and abrogated parts of the 1960 Independence Constitution of Nigeria. You will find out that nobody in the true sense of the word can say that Nigeria operates truly like a federation. So you have a commander-in-chief. There is no other than presiding over the Security Council meeting in the state, or for the local government chairman presiding over the Security Council meeting at his local government and dishing out contingencies or security votes on specifics. And some of these specifics are not even something that would affect the lives of the average citizen. So if Seyi Makinde is saying all he has just said is he doesn't command any troop. He does not command any troop. The general officer commanding the 2 divisions in Ibadan is not answerable to Governor Seyi Makinde. But when it comes to making sure that what is it called? That is a fair share of that monthly security vote comes to him, the soldier will get it. The commissioner of police will get his vote.
Exactly.
NSDC will get.
So are we saying they're just getting paid for no reason? It's almost.
Well, I won't be able to. I won't be able to say that.
Let's add the word. Let's add the word almost. Almost no reason.
Yes, I mean it's not having real effect, and we don't want to say things that will be misconstrued here. But what we're saying is that if these people along the chain of various chain of command there are supposed to be part of the security organogram, then there must be something on the ground that shows that they have been effective. So Makinde is not wrong in saying that he doesn't command the troop. That is what he's just saying. And look at the husband of that kidnapped school principal really embracing the governor and shedding tears. When a man is shedding tears like that, you know something has really, and it's, by the way, it's okay for men to tear up. It's okay for us to tear up because
of course
we saw on the breast of our mothers the same way the girl child did. So let nobody begin to mock that moment. And for me, that man has been an authentic hero of his family and the country. And the grandmother that was crying because the grandchildren have been taken, the daughter-in-law had been taken. That is, I mean, so much to deal with.
So within, that's sad. So sad.
Yeah. So that is part of it. Then Aisha Yusuf.
Yes.
I wouldn't know why she did not get it early enough. You know, that's where Alabambi came on a Nigerian television channel few hours ago.
Who is Alabambi?
Alabambi of the Nigerian Labour Party. Okay. One of those who initially were the nightmares of Peter Obi in Labour Party with Apampa and all of them. So now Alabambi is now talking of a retribution for Peter Obi for going to Nigerian Democratic Congress, and that Aisha Yusuf too had been a collaborator, a non-executive signatory to various checks, and alleging all kinds of stuff against them. Here, we will not repeat something that borders on slander and outright falsehood. But the point must be made that Aisha Yusuf may be learning in a hard way that the world of activism is different from that of active politics. And probably you should have listened to a political soulmate like Omoyele Sowore, because
you mean activism soulmate? Which one? Pick one, sir. Is it activism soulmate? Okay.
Activism soulmate. That's what I'm saying. I said political soulmate, not not whatever you may be thinking of. So is too serious for that kind of thing, and you know that he respects and values his family a lot. That I can confirm to you firsthand. So now, truth of the matter is that Aisha Yusuf may not really need our consolation. What this moment calls for is some clear-headedness. Should have some thinking that is not fogged in whatsoever, so that at some point she will know where she should throw her support. But I thought she was really going to go after something with her declaration. Throwing her hat in the ring at the Federal Capital Territory political space. We'll see what will come our way in the days ahead. Now, we were going to...
You were going to what? Yes, sir.
We were going to feature a special guest.
Before you get into that, sir, I wanted to speak on the Aisha Yusufu. You see, Aisha Yusufu and Sowore and the very dark minds, we need them.
Definitely.
We need them to balance the pursuit of power. The pursuit of power is exactly what that is.
That's right.
We cannot, inside any one of these individuals or any one of these individual sides, politics versus activism, we cannot be looking for balance. We need people that know how to go after power and get the power, because it's a game, because there are 200 million people at stake. So
I agree with you.
So we can't play Oshoko or Shoka, where you want to be for the people.
You mean Oshaka Shoko? It's one of the Oshaka is one of the Oshoko.
Yes.
Which one is Oshoko? Oshaka Shoko.
You have to understand that we're talking about the people. It's already a system as it is, right? You focus where your strength is. In my opinion, Omoyele Sowore, the very dark man, Aisha Shefu, their strength is in activism, which is just to call out the call out the faults of people, and then people that are in pursuit of power. I can't have Sowore trying to be holier than thou, or very dark man trying to be holier than thou in politics. It's not going to work. We're playing with our lives here. That's not going to work.
If for anything,
one thing, sir. One side need to be holding the other side accountable. That's the way it should be working.
Yes. So my own way of looking at that is that necessity of having internal cleansing persons. You know, the internal cleansing mechanism. That is the way you activate it. It does not. It will want to have people like them there, because they would reset the head of this.
Sorry, when you said there, what do you mean by there? Have them there.
To have them there in the system, within the system. They are
in the system. They are in the system already. They just don't need to go and be playing politics. This is a different game. It's not going to work out well, because Sherry Nkotonkweni, sorry for the Yoruba, Diboko Sebe. It's not about. It's not.
You vote and cook a pot of soup.
Yeah, it's a systemic thing. It is not a human being intentionally want to hurt other human beings. It's a systemic thing. So if they're going to, they need to maintain that system of separation. We call it the system of separations. If once you go and you try to be AAC, you're the same candidate, and then people are questioning you, and then your answers are always driven by activism, that is a lot of confusion that the general public cannot trust. Not because they don't want to trust you, it's simply they can't trust. That's just how the system works. You see what I'm saying, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Ola.
Yeah.
So I was going to mention the fact that to have a special, especially with the recent celebration of the Salah, the sacrifice thing by whether Ibrahim or Abraham by the Muslim world, we were going to do the unusual to bring a lady Islamic cleric, because you don't usually hear of women Islamic preachers anywhere in the world. But there is this trailblazer in Nigeria, Dr. Kaula, that we were going to feature today, but maybe for some reason they were not able to. I mean, she's not able to link up with us. But at some future date, we will do that and examine the phenomena of the place of the woman, because for somebody like me, I had felt like women had a perpetual subjugation in Islam, but she was going to come and give a better perspective on the place of the woman and our own works as a preacher today, and somebody who is promoting a university in Nigeria. If she's not able to join us today, at some other future date, she probably will be able to come through with us. So, Ola, let's continue with our special.
I mean, well, that's it. We're 2 minutes over already. You're right on time. We're 3 minutes over already.
Oh, but, okay.
Yeah, if you want to give me the last word, yeah.
You want the last word from me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, you want to do like a summary of what especially with regards to security crisis in Nigeria.
Yes, that security crisis in Nigeria would be resolved, it will be tackled when Nigerians begin to face up to the reality. For example, when you find the hypocritical mindset all over the place, trying to create a moral equivalence or social equivalence between what is happening there and the life every day in the United States. The truth that is not being told is that we have relative peace in the United States. If somebody is going to take to that kind of nonsense they are doing in Nigeria, that person would have signed up that he's not going to live beyond 24 to 48 hours.
Fact.
Yes, they don't get away with it. And that is one thing that Nigerian government must begin to work on. You cannot mistreat your citizens and treat them as if they are mere subjects and then expect cooperation from them in terms of actionable intelligence. No, they won't be friendly with you. They already see you as adversaries. And when a political party apologist, such as the APC, Mr. Nobody, that came on to blackmail and to say stupid stuff about the media this past week, when you ask them saying, yeah, it's like a journalist celebrate when they hear that people have been kidnapped, and I'm like, where is this one coming from? Is that the talking point they have generated within their party? No journalist would be happy to see a child kidnapped, not even a grown-up. And journalists are some of the most empathetic individuals you can find anywhere in the world. If you do not have passion for the welfare of your fellow human being, the dignity of the human person in the other, you may not really be, you have no business being in journalism. So that mindset, that twisted mindset should be addressed by the ruling government in Nigeria. And they should stop always saying, oh, crimes happen all over the US. How many people get killed? So when people perpetrate this kind of heinous crimes in the United States, just understand that they don't get away with it. The likelihood that that person would live to stage that kind of crime again is almost zero. It's almost zero. In America, you can live with the fact of your crime. Someday, it always finds you out. It is not like that in Nigeria, where criminals run the show, and you make special law to say that forgery cannot be a crime in your elections and all that. There's no worse way than to advertise the country as the ultimate destination of a scam and fraud than some of these electoral laws that continue to walk the streets like the ghost of Hamlet finding no rest. Thank you, Ola.
Ladies and gentlemen, join the Sharp Edge Nation. Subscribe, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. God bless.